This upcoming halving brings us to a new issuance rate of only 3.125 Bitcoin every single 10 minutes on average. So if you look to the left of this image, we started off with 50 Bitcoin being made available or issued to the human world, the human beings, every 10 minutes or so. And then we went in 2012, we went to Bitcoin experienced its first halving, and it went from 50 Bitcoin to 25 Bitcoin. From 25 Bitcoin in 2016, we halved again to 12.5 Bitcoin being released into the world on average every 10 minutes. And then in 2020, and I believe it was May of 2020, we experienced the third halving, where we went from 12.5 to 6.25, which is where we are now for the last few days of an issuance rate of 6.25 Bitcoin being released into the world, all right, on average every 10 minutes. Saturday sometime, perhaps maybe in the morning using Eastern time, New York time, what will happen automatically without any human intervention, without any influence, without any men operating behind the scenes, the issuance rate, right, after block 840,000 will instantly go from 6.25 to 3.125 and remain at that issuance rate for the next 4 years. All right, this will drop the daily amount of Bitcoin that becomes available to the human race from 900 a day. On Saturday, it will drop to 450 Bitcoin per day. Now, what's really interesting about this is that you can imagine that if you can do the calculation, right, at roughly $63,000 a Bitcoin, all right, what's the value of 6.25 Bitcoin being released into the world? That value is very, very high, but I guarantee you that it's tremendously, even though the supply is less, the value is tremendously higher per Bitcoin than all the way back in obviously 2010. So 6.25 Bitcoin is far more valuable than 50 Bitcoin back in 2010, 2011, 2012. And so despite the fact that the amount being released into the world is shrinking, the value per unit is exponentially exploding. All right. And we're going to come back to this point because I think it's extraordinarily important. And not understanding this makes one believe that the halvings in the future will have less impact because we're getting down to smaller and smaller amounts. I say it goes the other way. I say that's backwards thinking. The more valuable the item becomes, the more impactful the halving. We'll come back to that. Not the least impactful. We go from 6.25 to 3.125 this upcoming Saturday, more or less, in 3 days or so. This is an historic event. We won't see another one for another 4 years, but this one, I believe, is going to be one of the most important ones of all the halvings.